What's up, y'all, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing something a little different, and I'm going to be making a map of what World War III could possibly look like. Something really interesting that I thought of. I hope you like this video, and if you do, make sure to like and subscribe. So I'm going to start out the video with really what this war is going to be a war between some of the main powers, which really today are kind of China, Russia, Western Europe, particularly Britain, France, Germany, Italy, and the United States. So those are kind of the main powers that would really be at war with each other. So I'm going to start with like the communist, totalitarian kind of states. And these states are going to be China, obviously. China is really going to be a big player in this war, and Russia. Now, these nations really that are going to be on this side, I guess the red side, I'm going to call it. It's going to be a loose alliance. They're going to be kind of doing their own thing. They're probably not going to be doing much joint invasions and that type of stuff. They're going to be kind of doing their own thing. They could even turn on each other later after the war, so that'd be kind of interesting. But um, Iran probably would be another one that would join their alliance because they're kind of out to defend themselves against um, the Western world and possibly expanding their own influence and power to some of the nations over here, Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, maybe into Iraq possibly, or Afghanistan, something like that. They might try to do that. Get some oil and get the Iranian uh, economy going because really they're a third world country, not so great. And North Korea would be another one. They would be really another major player in this war. So yeah, those are kind of the four major powers that were going to be kind of on this side. And then that's going to be this color red. I'm going to try to find a different one. These next nations are going to be just kind of smaller nations that could get involved. They might really not either. Kind of depends on what kind of goes on, what treaties are made and what these leaders decide. So one would probably be Pakistan, because India would probably be involved in this war, because China and India are kind of at each other. They're not very friendly with each other. They've fought each other along kind of this area here. So Pakistan and obviously India probably is has much more beef though as Pakistan. So those two would probably be at each other. If China decides to go and fight India, they're going to join China fight India. Um, some of the Middle Eastern nations, they might try to decide to attack Israel once again because they kind of all hate Israel. So they've historically have. So Syria, Jordan, Egypt, possibly, probably not. They've kind of we're kind of well with them. They're more the conflicts with Egypt that they had were more around Sinai, but they kind of more have that now, so like around Suez Canal and Sinai and all that. So Egypt would be unlikely, but maybe I'll throw it in there. If you want to, I guess, go a little crazy, you want to do something really interesting, you could throw Cuba in there. Cuba's still a communist nation. Um, they could, try to join the Chinese and the Russians. They could do some stuff. Actually, another one maybe that could make an alliance. Maybe might be Armenia to because they hate Turkey, and Turkey would more likely lean with the Europeans and the Americans, and they'd probably maybe make an alliance with Iran or Russia or something and attack Turkey. Let's see what else. I'll throw Iraq in there, I guess, too. They could join in and fight against Israel, or because or actually maybe Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia would more be in line with the United States and the Europeans. Um, But anyway, and another one, maybe Venezuela. Venezuela is a very socialist country, but they're in deep unrest. It's civil war. I mean, that's, I guess, going on in Syria as well, but still. And this is a map of 2016, but really the borders haven't changed all that much, so I'm just going to keep it as that. So Venezuela might join in, but I mean that'd be kind of just as unlikely as Cuba would. These two would be unlikely, but I'm just kind of throwing them in there, just kind of for something fun and interesting. So anyway, the other side, the Democratic United Nations, whatever I guess you want to call it, the defending nations against these belligerent nations that would be these very powerful belligerent nations that would be attacking them. Um, let's see. So the major players in that would, I'll do dark blue. The United States, obviously, that's the country where I live. That would be a big player, global superpower. They would be a big player in fighting China and Russia. And then really Canada would probably get involved. I'll do North America. They'd probably try to join in with the United States and possibly try to defend themselves against Russia. If Russia tries to do anything, tries to do anything in Alaska, tries to like invade Alaska somehow, or they would just kind of be in line with the Europeans and Americans as well. So, the United Kingdom would be another big nation that would join in the fight, especially in Eastern Europe if Russia tries to attack Eastern Europe. France, another one. Germany. Let's see, another big player. South Korea would be a big one in the war against North Korea and China. They would most likely attack South Korea. Japan would be another one. The Chinese and North Koreans could try to attack Japan. Taiwan, another one. Those would probably be the bigger ones that would join into this war. And then I'll do, again, well, actually, I'll throw in Ukraine because Russia and Ukraine have had some really big beef going on, and Ukraine doesn't really like Russia. Same with Russia doesn't really like Ukraine. So those two, if the war starts, Russia would be first to attack Ukraine, then like these other nations here. But so next we're going to move on to the more likely nations that would join in. Oh, and India, I guess, would be another major player I could throw in there too, because like I said before, they not really big with China, and China could try to attack India. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna change India to a likely, like a possible one, and I'll do that color. India is kind of a likely one that'll happen. And then it all kind of really depends on what China decides to do if they try to attack India. But India might just kind of join in later on in the war with some like encouragement from the United Nations, especially if things aren't going well. They might decide, hey, we'll join in. If these other nations decide to fight Israel, Israel obviously would join the other side. Oh, and actually, the Palestinians would, if they're going in this war, they would try to fight against the Israelis as well. It's very small in there, right there. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, those would be some of the smaller players in this. Turkey, if these would probably join in, they'd try to fight Iran. In some of the other surrounding nations, like I said, they'd more likely join with Western Europe. Let's see who else. The other Eastern European nations would probably, if they're defending themselves against Russia, they'd probably join. Poland, these other Eastern European nations. Italy might join in as well. I'll just kind of throw them all in here. Just kind of as united front against Russia. Greece and these other nations probably wouldn't join in. I'm just going to say they're going to stay neutral, especially Greece. They're definitely not going to be wanting to be involved in anything with Turkey because Greece and Turkey really hate each other. Um, let's see what else. The Southeast Asia, many of the countries in Southeast Asia would probably, if join in, if they're being attacked by China, that they'd probably want to defend themselves against China and join the United States. The Philippines, if they're attacked by China. Australia actually would be probably a bigger player, pretty likely to join in. But I'll just kind of, I'd probably, well, Australia would be a likely player. Australia would be a pretty likely player. And then New Zealand would be more of, I'll just throw it as a likely player. They might join earlier, they might join later. It all kind of depends on what Australia wants to do. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean, all this kind of depends on how the war would go. Let's see what else. If there's war anywhere, in South America, Latin America. Oh, did I click Mexico? Nah, they'd probably stay neutral, I would say, especially if they're not really being attacked by Cuba. They're neutral. Anyway, go back to the light blue. Saudi Arabia, like I said before, would probably join the United States. We have pretty good relations with them. Kuwait would join as well if Iran or Iraq tries to attack Kuwait again. The United Arab Emirates would be highly unlikely to join. I'm just going to keep them neutral. Same with Oman and Yemen. All that. I would keep them out of this war. Indonesia, slightly possible, but I don't know if China's going to get that far. I'll put Malaysia in there because they might just go all the way down and they could try to go all the way down Southeast Asia. I don't know if they would push into Indonesia. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But they'd probably be more caught up with the American Navy in Hawaii and South China Sea and that kind of area. But some nations that would probably be defending if Venezuela tries to attack anyone, maybe Brazil would join in the cause against Venezuela, Colombia, some of the surrounding nations. The Netherlands and Belgium might join in with other Western European nations. Up in Northern Europe, it's possible if Russia decides to join in and attack them, but I don't know. I find that unlikely. But I'll just kind of put them in there. So yeah, that's pretty much the map, most likely. In Nepal and Myanmar, I don't know. I'll leave them neutral, but they'd probably join in. I'll throw them in there. I'll throw them in there. I'll just kind of throw them in there just in case they're attacked by China. But yeah, pretty much that's what the war would look like. A lot of the fighting would be probably in Eastern Europe, Ukraine. Ukraine especially would be one of the places that's fighting. Oh wait. I am forgetting one part. This part right here. Azerbaijan would probably join the fight against Armenia and Iran. They're kind of have decent relations with Turkey in Western Europe, and then Georgia would probably join as well if Russia tries to attack Georgia, which could be a thing. But yeah, that's pretty much what the map would look like. Like I was saying, a lot of the fighting would be here in Eastern Europe, with Russia trying to attack Eastern Europe. Many of the forces from Germany, France, Britain, and Eastern European forces all kind of united against Russia. Another one would be, South Korea with North Korea and China trying to attack South Korea. That would be a big battleground. And the South China Sea would be big navally. China could attack Taiwan, and Hong Kong, is in there. they would try to attack Hong Kong, and that might be a battleground. But um, and then Japan could also be one too, because North Korea and China could attack Japan and try to take Japan. That'd be a big, huge blow to the United States in the Western world. They attack Japan. Something interesting that could even possibly happen is if Russia maybe decides to go, and Russia and possibly China as well tries to go in and attack Alaska and in Canada. That'd be something kind of interesting, something that's never really happened before. But it'd be kind of an interesting thought. Let's see what else. Um, oh, of course, the war in Israel. There'd be a lot of these nations attacking Israel all at once, and they'd probably request some aid from the United States and Europe, which would be kind of tied up. But maybe they could send them some aid if they had anything available. Let's see. There could be probably some fighting in Turkey and over here. Uh, Over here, kind of where the Black Sea is in the Caspian Sea, in like Georgia, Azerbaijan area. There'd probably be some fighting there with Iran trying to attack that area. There could be fighting in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia with Iran and Iraq. They could be trying to attack them. India, there'd be some pretty good fighting if China tries to attack India, and if Pakistan tries to attack India as well. There'd be some pretty good fighting there. Um, Possibly some aid from Australia, United States, Western Europe, um, and then possibly fighting over here around Venezuela if they try to expand. But this is kind of more unlikely. This is just kind of throwing it in. Same with Cuba. This is just really pretty unlikely. I just kind of threw it in there just kind of for the fun of it. But again, it's pretty unlikely. But yeah, that's the map of what the world would look like. Um, Domestically, what would be happening in these nations? There'd probably be a lot of unrest. Um, a lot Eastern China, they could even try to secede or cause a rebellion because really that's more rural and they don't really like the Chinese Communist Party. So they could try to do that if the Chinese military is caught up fighting the United States and in Western Europe and just all the other areas and trying to expand. They could easily break away, and that'd be kind of hard for them. There would probably be unrest in the United States, obviously. We really wouldn't really want a war. That would be really bad for us. There'd be a lot of rioting, unrest, and stuff from that. Probably the same kind of thing would be happening in some of the Western European countries as well. They'd probably join into that. So yeah, the war would probably get pretty pretty tired of war, and um, so. But yeah, I hope you like this video, and if you do, make sure to like and subscribe, and comment down below if you think anything would be different about this. If I said anything that you believe is wrong, comment down below, and I'll see you next time.